Hey, it's Chuck. Aaron Nolan drops back. Emeka Ibuka leaks out with Hancock blanketed all over him. Emeka Ibuka makes a scintillating one-handed catch, stays in bounds. Emeka Ibuka, that's 6 for the Buckeyes, and this guy just did it again. Casually flips the ball to me. Let's get it. And I don't think he's going to throw the ball as much as he thinks he's going to throw the ball. Now that Chip Kelly's on board, and I'm happy about that. More quarterback.
The truth is, Ryan Day has made a change philosophically, but it's none of those.
You all know who wins. LSU is the drunkest fan base in the country. And welcome in on a Friday. Thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate y'all as always. And it's a big week for me. The first full week of Juck on Bucks on Menace. And the Menace Army has been great to me. Appreciate you guys. The Juck guys have been awesome following me over. You guys are the best, man. I'm having a blast. The time of my life, really. This is a whole lot of fun. And I'm just soaking it up, man. And we're heading into the season of dreams. I couldn't be happier. I could not be happier. Practice today, the energy that this team has, the nastiness, the fight, they're fighting, they're scrapping. It's one of those feelings you get when you look back, championship teams of old, you look back at some of the nastiest teams, right? Some of the badass Miami teams. It's some of the teams that just absolutely knew that they were competing the hardest they were going to compete all week in practice against their own team. And that's what's going on in Columbus right now. They're talking, they're fighting. I mean, the energy is lit, and it has not felt like this in a long time. It's just a different vibe. It's a totally different vibe. And we're going to get into everything about practice, but I want to get into something else first. So please do, if you're not already, go over to Juck on Bucks and subscribe over there, because we're going to go live at least once this week, maybe twice. So we were going to go live for Messiah Delhomme's commitment. Messiah Delhomme, top 100-ish, just outside of the top 100 safety on 247, top 200 on the 247 composite. And it was thought for a while that he was kind of the, I don't want to say it like this, but kind of the backup plan for McNutt. If McNutt goes elsewhere, which we all knew for months he was going to go elsewhere, even if you didn't want to admit it to yourself, he always was. So then we would take Delhomme. Now, Delhomme is down to Virginia, Virginia Tech, Maryland, and Ohio State. And one of those things is not like the other. So obviously, he's going to pick Ohio State, right? Well, it sounds like now he's not really a take. And the Buckeyes seem to kind of be in and out on him for a while. I was never fully sure. And to be honest, like, part of me agrees with this, part of me doesn't. The part that agrees is his film does not match that ranking to me. And it seems clear that most of the colleges agree, the bigs anyway, or else it wouldn't be down to Virginia, Virginia Tech, Maryland, and Ohio State for a top 100-ish player. That's not normal. So he seems a little bit on the slow side. He does have the size. The part that doesn't agree with this is we're at 24 guys in the class. And as we look at the class, I'm going to pull up the big board here. In the highlighted areas, these are the guys that we still might be in on. So at running back, you got Turbo Rogers, Shakai Mills-Knight. I don't think we're getting either. You're going to get one of the wide receivers, whether it's Phillip Bell, Jerome Miles, or Preston Bowman ends up flipping, but I doubt that at this point. So you're going to get one of them. That's 25. Do you get Sanders, McFadden, or both? Highly doubt both. Let's call it one. There you're at 26. If you're not going to take Delhomme, getting Jakeem Stewart is still a massive long shot, even though he does love Ohio State. So you're at 26, and then I think you're still going to end up losing Zaire Mathis. I think he's going to flip to Penn State. So you're at 25 guys now. And I don't see anything else on the horizon. Nobody else that they're currently in on. Doesn't mean there won't be someone they're going to get in on. Doesn't mean somebody else won't flip out of the class. You never know. And from the time we started, the momentum, the number one class, which we still have, we're not going to win it with 25 guys. We're not going to win it with 27 guys. And we thought for a long time we were going to get up to like 29 or 30. And in this current environment, in this day and age of recruiting, when you've got 25 guys that we lost last year in the transfer portal, 25 went out. And when you're judging how much you can look forward to in the future, right? Was that a one-off? It was just, a coincidence that many guys left that year. I like to go look at comparable programs that recruit like us, that operate like us. So you'd obviously want to go look at Georgia, Alabama. You can't really use Alabama in this instance because they had the coaching change. So that's totally different. So let's look at Georgia. Let's look at Texas. Georgia had 24 guys transfer out. Texas had 25 guys transfer out. Ohio State, 25 guys transfer out. So if all three of those recruit pretty similarly, Texas a touch behind, all had 25 guys transfer out, what would make us think that's going to change in the next cycle? Like I can't see any reason that would change. And it seems to me like somewhere around there, 20-ish guys at least, right? You would think is probably going to be the norm of what we can count on exiting the program to the portal. Then we got to count the guys graduating or going to the NFL early. That's about 20 this year. That's 40 to 45 guys. So if you bring in a class of 25 guys, you got a whole heck of a lot of spots to make up out of the portal or bringing guys up that are walk-ons on scholarship. Too much, in my opinion. We had 7 this year total. Ryan Day is protecting his culture at all costs. And I love that about him. I think he has built the best culture of any Ohio State coach in my life. I think it's unbelievable. And he wants to protect it. He doesn't like all this turnover. And I think that he has made some adjustments in the recruiting strategy to protect it. I think we've seen that with a couple of guys like offering Eli Lee and accepting that commitment really early. I think he's definitely an Ohio State player, but a guy like that, you might have waited a little later in the cycle for. Bodpin Miller, bringing him in. Jake Cook, they ended up, bringing Jake Cook in after several camp performances where he deserved it quite a while before then. It just seems like they're bringing in more Ohio guys to try to build that core of guys that they know the odds are better that they're going to stick around, be developmental program guys. And I love the strategy. I think it's great. Going to take some time for that to come to fruition. We're also going to 105 guys on the roster soon. And then I think we're going to see even more Ohio flavor, which I love. But when you look at this class, you got a whole lot of spots to fill. And you're going to pass on a guy like Messiah Delhomme for what? I just don't see any reason. And you cannot go around bringing in 25-man classes when our competition is bringing in 30 and 31 and 32. We have gone the last couple cycles, the last 4 cycles, I think we've averaged 22 and a half guys. Georgia and Bama are at 26. And that's 4 more opportunities a cycle or 16 more opportunities over 4 cycles to hit on a star. You want all the opportunities you can get. They never seem to have any problem going over their scholarship number because they got no problem processing out the end of the roster. Now you don't even have to do that and feel bad about it. It happens naturally anymore, right? They used to do it before you could even transfer out. You'd have to sit a year when you transferred, when they started doing that. You don't got to sit. There is nothing wrong with telling a guy, look, I don't think you're going to play here. If you want to hit the portal, I think it might be a good idea for you. And if he wants to stay, he'll stay. He won't, he'll go. And it's just the cold hard factor reality in big boy college football. So take as many opportunities as you can to bring the guys in. We're looking at a guy, Jalen McClain, absolutely blowing it up. This was a 3-star guy nobody talked about at all. Comes in. This guy might play as a true freshman at safety. Who's to say Messiah Delhomme isn't the same? Take these guys. Bring them in. If they find their way out of the program, then that's what happens. I just don't agree with the philosophy of passing on a guy whose recruitment you won. And I felt the same way about Andrew Stargell. a whole nother story. Andrew Stargell, that one really irritated me big time. Andrew Stargell is a lineman from Georgia that Justin Fry went down and visited, worked him out down in Georgia, brings him up on his official visit, and Stargell wanted to commit right then at the visit. But he felt like Fry didn't want him to, so he didn't. And then it came out that Stargell wanted to go take a visit to UCF and NC State and Kentucky first, which wasn't true. He didn't want to do that. He wanted to commit. So he's out there, and in the meantime, Fry takes Jake Cook in, which I love. I love Jake. Talked to him through the whole cycle. He's the best story of the cycle. Jake Cook commits to Ohio State. Awesome. Jake Cook can play center or guard, either one. Andrew Stargell can only play center. Fry decides that they want Cook at center, and that's it, which means Stargell is out unless you want to take two centers. So you passed on a guy that you really liked in Stargell that I thought was a really, really promising prospect because you pigeonholed Cook into the center role, but you didn't need to. You look at the offensive line now. Montgomery just slid over to center. I mean, Hinsman just went from center to guard. Cook's the same type of guy. Why did you have to pigeonhole him into center and pass on Stargell? Again, a recruitment you won, a great evaluation you went out and did yourself. And then you just ghosted him. That's it. It's over. Forget about it. Made no sense to me at the time. And as we move further on in this offensive line recruiting cycle, it makes even less sense. And now, as we get the news today, that Josh Petty, who, I mean, listen, it's about to blow. It's about to blow out here with some Buckeye fans because I said it yesterday in the show. I don't hold this against, I don't feel like this is losing a recruit to Georgia Tech, like Ohio State losing to Georgia Tech. It technically is. He just had Tom Lloyd, Steve Wiltfong, and Chad Simmons all put crystal balls in for him to Georgia Tech yesterday. So they all come in yesterday, and that means that they got some information. You don't do that a week ahead of time unless you get some information. So they put those in. So we're cooked on that. We're not getting Petty. That's curtains. That's done. He is going to go to Georgia Tech, and that means he technically chose Georgia Tech over Ohio State, but he didn't really. What he chose was that diploma from one of those type of schools, either Stanford or Georgia Tech were the two he was in on. He's chose that and staying home and a nice NIL deal over the football school. Now, a great recruiter might have swayed him off of that decision. That's true. A great recruiter we don't have at the offensive line. And that's just what it is. And the David Sanders stuff, I'm not freaking out about it yet because we still have not heard anything concrete that makes me believe these guys are doing anything but speculating. I want to read you a quote here. He could end up at all three schools, Wiltfong said, but Tennessee has been the team trending down the home stretch. Previously, Wiltfong had Ohio State as the front runner, but now it's looking all Vols following another visit to Knoxville at the end of July. That trip also included a visit to Nebraska, suggesting the Cornhuskers can't be ruled out yet. Ryan Day and Ohio State chose not to participate in the final recruiting weekend because, according to Day, they wanted to take a 3-day weekend. I made up the last part. But, that's what happened. That is what he said. But you got Sanders announcing on the 17th of August. So we're almost there. Javon McFadden, the interior guy who we're also in on, who is down to Maryland, Colorado, and Ohio State. Another one of these things is not like the other situations. Told a fella named Mick Walker, who's new at Letterman Row, that he would be committing before the season. Told everybody else he would be waiting till during the season. I don't know. We're getting pretty close to the season here. I haven't heard a thing out of the McFadden camp or anything about him, to be honest. So I don't know what the deal is on that at all. But you could really be looking at the possibility of a 2-man offensive line class in the worst case scenario here with Carter Lowe and Jake Cook. Carter Lowe, borderline 5-star, excellent tackle prospect, and I think he's only getting better. I think he'll win that 5-star. Don't really win a 5-star. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to really just continue to improve his senior year and absolutely be excellent coming right in the gate. So a big time win there, and not to be discounted like a normal Ohio prospect, because it was from Toledo at a school with Michigan pressure around it, pressure for him to go there. Fry won that battle. You get credit for that one for sure. Jake Cook, no. Jake, this is dream school. He absolutely not. I do credit him for offering, though. It was a good thing to offer for sure. I think Jake is definitely an Ohio State caliber lineman. That's 2 guys. And when you went into this cycle, the orders from headquarters were, from an NIL perspective, offensive line, defensive line, we're spending on the trenches. Go get the dudes. We got your back, right? They had all the support. And on the defensive line, they went out and got Ziggy Grady, top 100 guy. Zahir Mathis, top 100 guy. London Merritt, top 150 guy. And then 3 really good interior guys, pretty undervalued, all 3 of them. And Jarquez Carter, who kind of reminds me a lot of Tyleek. Trajan Odom, who's a little bit longer, a good-looking athletic prospect. And then Maxwell Roy, who's like a Stonewall 1-tech, strong as an ox, wrestler out of Philadelphia St. Joe. And I think they some great evaluations, some really good bargain dudes, and not the top upper crust guys, but some really solid prospects on the defensive line. So they went out and did the thing on the defensive line. And if you end this class, it's really bad to be in this situation. It is, particularly when we're heading into the season of dreams. And this stuff should be like, back of our mind. But I mean, it's just it's sticking out like such a glaring flaw that I just can't get past it. And I know a lot of you can't either, because I see all the messages and it's just going bananas on Twitter with the petty to Georgia Tech stuff. But again, we've not lost David Sanders yet. And I think a lot of people have just kind of tossed this in like it's a foregone conclusion. I'm not so sure. Anything changed there. The Buckeyes still feel fairly confident there. And that still means something. It does. There's still time. And I've been critical of Justin Fry. I have. With recruiting, I got to tell you, I am feeling great about this offensive line on the actual football team right now, which is kind of what matters most. They look good, dude. They look good. And not only that, they're all they're sick. They're really sick. You had 4 of them 4 out of 16 scholarship linemen were out of practice today, sick, with the same illness that Carson Hinsman had that had him out on day 1. We just completed day 7 yesterday. And, this thing's lingering. But you look at the guys in there. You look at what Simmons has done with himself, Fryer, Hinsman, the physical transformations. Yeah, sure, that's Mick. But, I think their offensive line coach gets a little credit for this too. He's certainly putting some motivation into the guys. He's doing good. He's doing good with them. And the line is going to look good. He's getting some help with Tim Drevno. And a lot of people are saying Drevno is essentially the co-offensive line coach now. And you hear his voice as much as Fry's, as if that's some insult. If that's true, I don't know if it is or isn't. But if it is, I think that speaks highly of Fry to have someone come in and allow them to have their voice heard like that. Football coaches are territorial, and you could definitely see a scenario where that would be uncomfortable, or he may not like that. You've seen it a lot of times with guys like that. Football coaches, I mean. And, if he's allowing him to come in
and kind of be that voice as loud as his, I think that's a good thing. It's best for the offensive line. Clearly, they're doing it right. But Ryan Day's number one priority for an assistant coach is not development or relationships or culture. It's recruiting. Those are his words. It's number one. Justin Fry's his buddy. And I see people who support Justin Fry really scrambling, absolutely trying to come up with anything. Like Fry, help me help you, bro. We're looking at the offers in 26, and you're repeating the same mistake. You have 50% less than of the offers that Michigan, Georgia, and Alabama have out in 26. Again, the exact reason you're in this situation now that everyone's freaking out about, you're repeating it. How do I defend you? You know what I mean? And why is it still like this? Why? I know that he hears the criticisms. Go pick some targets, send some offers on some fancy Ohio State edits. It's not hard. Send them out. Touch base. Just start the process. That's it. And once everybody sees that, they're going to feel a whole lot better. And then go win Sanders. Bada bing, bada boom. Things are better. So practice number 7 on Thursday, Big Ten Network was in attendance to watch. Full pads. They went for about 3 hours. Bunch of guys out with this virus that they called a funky virus. Mostly offensive linemen. There was 4 of them out. Some of them visibly got sick on the field, so that's always fun. I guess Seth McLaughlin threw up on the field, continued to snap the ball to Will Howard while he licked his fingers and fielded the ball. That's always a safe way to keep the virus under control. That's been spreading since day 1. Carson Hinsman was out with the same virus. Football guys sometimes are boneheads. What are you going to do? Reps have been cut down for the quarterbacks. Will and Devin are getting all the ones with the ones. All the ones in team reps, and Will is mostly getting the ones with the ones. Unofficial numbers from the 2 of those guys, I've got 8 of 16 for Will and 11 of 16 for Devin. That's in 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 combined. Devin Brown threw a great red zone touchdown pass to Jelani Thurman in the corner of the end zone, and he also hit Jayden Ballard on a really long one. Jayden's good for those from time to time. Be nice to see him on the field. Hope he can get there sometime. Jelani Thurman had a really big day. And Will Howard had a bit of a not too high, not too low day. Did throw a pick on an out route to Denzel. Denzel made a great break on it. And like Will said the other day, sometimes Denzel is just Denzel being a dude. But it does seem like we never really get that one wow day out of Will. I can't recall a single day since he's been here where it was just like, wow, Will killed it today. And I would like to hear that once. Even though he doesn't need to be the hero, it would just be nice to hear one time Will had an amazing day. He hit 3 deep balls, something. I would have thought we'd at least gotten one by now. But, I'm still confident in the guy. As for the decision, none has been made. Day spoke after practice. He said, we're going to scrimmage on Saturday. The media is not going to be in on that scrimmage, so we won't get anything out of it. He said, then we're going to take an evaluation, see where the guys are at. Both guys are getting reps with the ones. Talking about Will, Day said, I will say, command of the huddle, line of scrimmage. I think he's more confident out here. Will has taken some strides here the last couple of days, taking control of the offense, plays on 3rd down. Again, he hasn't won the job, but we've seen some positive plays here. Total command of the offense. Lost some weight, 2% of his body weight. Worked on his throwing mechanics. But if there's one thing that's different about it, it's the command of the offense, the way he's making decisions and his movement. When you hear all that, I think it's pretty clear where this is going. There was not any of that about Devin. So middle of next week, this should probably be official, I'd imagine, because all those words sound just like a precursor to I'm about to, name this guy the starting quarterback. And once we get to that point, let's see, practice 8, 9, 10. They're going to have about 15 practices left, right? 15 practices left. with the starting quarterback announced and in place probably. And that's nice. Compared to last year, that's real nice. I like to be on the same page. I didn't care which way they went with this. They're going to go with Will. Fine. Make it be done early and let's get on with it. Jelani Thurman had 2 touchdowns in the red zone. We've always known Jelani would be a nightmare matchup down there, and he's got hands. So Dylan Davis asked Ryan Day, what's he got to do to see the field? And Ryan Day said he's got all the talent in the world, but you've heard me say it before. You can watch a 5 to 10 play cut up of him and be very impressed, but he needs to be consistent. It's all the no talent issues with him, the focus. He made some plays, but then there were some plays that weren't made, and that can ruin a drive. Oh, that's deflating. That's deflating. You hate to hear that. You hate to hear it in public. Those are usually comments like that behind closed doors. You know, when you say things like focus, that's like you never want to hear your coach say that about you. So that makes me think maybe he's a little further away than I thought, or I hoped for sure. But Will Kazmarek looked good, had a really long catch from Will Howard. Definitely going to play a lot according to Day. The way Day was talking about Jelani kind of sounds the way I heard several coaches talk about Kenyatta Jackson in spring. The consistency, the focus, whatever it is that Kenyatta doesn't seem to be getting together. And on a day where we heard all these guys on the defense making plays, the only thing out of Kenyatta was he hurt his leg. I don't know whenabouts that was in practice. It could have been early, and that's why he didn't make any plays. But the next time I hear Kenyatta Jackson make a play will be the first time in a very, very long time. We'll put it that way. Mitchell Melton's already eaten into those snaps. And I'm starting to get concerned. Like, could this be a situation? Hopefully, I'm just looking too far into this, but could this be a situation with Kenyatta Jackson where he is the defensive version of Jayden Ballard? A guy that's just got it all physically and can't ever seem to put it together. Nice guy, well-spoken. Like, I don't know, man. I'm just the guy's talent coming into Ohio State was like, I thought we had a potential first rounder here, and we've seen nothing, just nothing. It's a bummer. Wednesday, I played that clip of from the social media team. IGB breaks up the pass from JJ. JJ scores the touchdown on him. IGB got up, was talking mad trash to JJ. That's what he does. Well, it happened again on Thursday. And that's how IGB rolls. That's how that entire defensive backfield rolls. The Armstrong twins, they got in a scuffle with a walk-on lineman. Go get him, walk-on. I love that. That scuffle somehow ended with Will Howard and JT pointing at each other. And, you know, they're competing with some serious fire, taking it right up to the line without going over. And Ryan Day was asked about how he feels about these kind of little skirmishes. And he kind of said he likes it. That's the way we got to be. We're not going to back down from anybody. We like to see that fire. They're not throwing a punch and getting thrown out of a game. That's undisciplined. But we want to see that kind of fire. And I think that's great. Taking it as close to the line as you can without going over. That's where you get your absolute best on a football team. And these guys got it. And BIA is responsible. These dudes are bringing it. We heard Denzel Burke say at Big Ten Media Days that he thinks they're scared. The rest of the team is scared of BIA. With the talent they got, the swagger, how loud they are. Even look at Jermaine Matthews, not even a starter, but that starting group, and then him. I mean, McLean, the freshman, like they got dude after dude after dude. And the leader of the group, the quiet one, Caleb Downs, just perfect. Not like that at all, but interesting. It's an interesting dynamic going on. I think it's the perfect dynamic, and this team has just got it going, dude. These guys got it going. I'm getting more and more confident by the day. 24/7 came out with their top 25. Buckeyes number 1 in 24/7's top 25. And we got On 3 did their playoff bracket. Let me pull that sucker up here. So their playoff teams On 3 has Georgia as the SEC champ, Ohio State is the Big Ten champ. Florida State, ACC. Utah winning the Big 12. Now, I've got Texas in the SEC, Ohio State in the Big Ten, Miami in the ACC, and did I go Utah in the Big 12 or did I go Kansas? I think I had Utah beating Kansas in the championship game. I have to double check that. So they go Texas number 5, the at-large, Oregon. So Oregon was the Big Ten runner-up. Texas was the SEC runner-up. Well, way to go out on a limb, guys. Straight chalk so far. They got Alabama as an at-large, Ole Miss as an at-large, Michigan as an at-large, Notre Dame, Missouri, and Boise, which means Penn State did not make their playoff. Not super surprising. And only 3 Big Ten teams. Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan, the only 3 Big Ten teams. SEC has Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Missouri. 5 SEC teams. 1 Big 12. Notre Dame and Boise State representing the P5. Just missed Penn State, Clemson, Tennessee, Memphis, and Liberty. Now, they did go all the way through, and they've got the national championship game projection. Georgia beating Ohio State. That is not happening. That is absolutely not happening. I got a message today. Juck, did you see the new Illinois helmets? Yes, I did. Not these ones, though. Illinois celebrating their 100th anniversary. And these are their commemorative helmets that they're going to be wearing for their 100th anniversary. But they're also going to be wearing one special one. And they had this thing made at this little helmet shop where this guy is a graphic artist or an artist. He's a helmet artist. And I watched the video on the process. And the process is amazing. And the finished product is neat. It's hideously ugly, but it is neat. Kudos to that guy. This thing is monstrous. It's made to look like a leather helmet. What you're looking at right there is a plastic helmet. And here it is in all its glory, along with the uniform, the Red Grange throwback. And that is the leather helmet painted on that thing. And the amount of painstaking effort that this man went through to make that is impressive. However, I feel like you might have been able to get a very similar effect just with like whatever they used to do car wraps with. You would not believe the effort that went into that thing. Now, again, I think the concept is cool. I really like that part of it, but that thing's ugly. Luke, I will not be putting that here. I think Luke and JR suggested that I put that up here. That's not happening. However, there is a new helmet coming, guys. There is a new one coming. The poll is over. The new helmet poll is over. 244 votes. Here were our candidates. We had the Script Pit. We had UCLA. It's in LA with USC. The Ole Miss Light Blue. And the Oklahoma State Matte Black Script Cowboys. And the winner is, we're down to 2. We'll knock the first 2 off right now. Pitt and the Cowboys are off. Look, you know what? I'm looking at that now. I'm just realizing all four of those are script letters there, which is interesting. I didn't do that intentionally. I must gravitate towards that, I guess. So those 2 get knocked off. So we're down between UCLA and the Ole Miss Powder Blue. Now, this was close. One of them was in the lead 2 days ago. This has been up 5 days. One was in the lead 2 days ago. The other one came storming back to take the victory. Ole Miss Light Blue Alt, the next helmet coming to the Juck on Bucks studio. I shall order it today, guys. Your choice, and we'll get it in here. It's going to look really good because we don't have one that shade yet. The most recent one we got is North Carolina. Interesting. You went back to back with the light blue, but you know, it looks good. Offset some of this white. We get too many whites, way too many whites. Interesting little graphic came out today. Number of wins against top 10 teams since 2014. So since the original 4-team college football playoff that we won, Ohio State has one less win against the top 10 than Alabama. Pretty interesting for a team that everybody says never wins the big game, never beats good competition. They like to say that an awful lot. Seems to me like Ohio State's just about the best there. And I would guess that at the end of this year, we're going to go ahead and pull ahead. And Georgia's not going to catch us either. We're going to catch another one of those off of them is what's going to happen. Michigan's got 9. Look at the difference there from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, from first place to 7th place. A huge difference. Absolutely enormous difference. Everybody sucks, man. Look at us. We're so far out in front. 20. We're just playing a different game here. It's just fantastic. Let's get to a couple comments. Tim says, this is what the NCAA does when you tell them, I don't remember if I paid for the burgers. That's it. You nailed it. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And Southeast Dago, the San Diego kind, not the Italian kind, says, Puddles the Duck doing push-ups on the burger. Referencing my thumbnail. In the Buckeye leaf, I put a Swenson's. It had to be a Swenson's burger, and I put the duck there doing the push-up on top of the burger, which I thought was clever. And, that guy gets me more than anybody else. He always points out my little jokes to myself, and he likes them too, and I appreciate that about him. Nobody else gets me like him. Jeff McDowell says, you're speaking the truth about Howard, Chuck, but that's why we hired Chip Kelly. That's the coach's job to maximize your strength in the scheme and prevent them from exposing your weaknesses. I just don't think Day had the time to do that and manage the game. I think you're absolutely right. And I think what Day has done, getting Chip in here, obviously Chip being that guy was the absolute perfect fit. But even if it wasn't Chip, he needed to do this a couple years ago. He would be further along in this process if he'd have gone ahead and pulled the trigger back then, actively looked for someone to take on this role to free him up some time. And I think the program would be in a whole lot better shape if he could have just let go a while back. But whatever. He's done it now. It's great. Things are going to be fantastic. And you're absolutely right, Jeff. Thank you. All right, guys. I guess that's it. Join me tomorrow. Let's do it. What the hell? We're going to do it at 7 o'clock, live show, whether Messiah Delhomme picks us or not. I want to do a live show. It's been a while. I miss you guys on the live. So we're going to get on. We're going to do a freestyle live, whatever you want to talk about. I'm sure we'll get into all sorts of stuff. I'll just get up here and riff off the cuff and rap with you guys. We'll have a good time. So 7 o'clock Saturday, I will set the thing and shoot it out tonight. Go ahead and set your alarm bells. Please subscribe on Juck on Bucks if you're not already. Check me out on the podcast. That's really nice too. If you want to be a member to the YouTube channel, check that out. We got some sweet shirts from Columbus Apparel Company, our sponsor, coming to everybody who signs up for that membership. And they're awesome. Columbus Apparel Company got a whole line coming for us. It's going to be great stuff. If you have any shirts you want printed, big bulk shirts, banners, whatever you want, car wraps, anything, get a hold of me. I got an amazing discount that they gave me that I can share with anybody. That I don't think I'm even supposed to say that on the air. They said I can share it with anybody, so I'm going to, because maybe I shouldn't. Should I ask them? Whatever, just get a hold of me. They're not watching, I don't think. All right, that'll be all. Talk to you soon, guys. Juck on Bucks out. Hey, it's Juck.
Juck? Who is Juck?
Juck on Bucks.
Juck on Bucks. Juck on Bucks?
Juck.
Juck
on Bucks.
My guy Juck.
Juck on Bucks.
My buddy Juck.
Juck is the Juck.
It's Juck on Bucks.
Okay.
Juck is junk.
The Juckeyes. The Juckeyes.
Juck on Bucks.
Junk. Juck. Not junk. Juck. Juck. Junk. Juck. Not junk. Juck.